Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Yes, good morning, people. I hope you're all well. Big up to every single one of you that's joining me nice, bright and early on this Monday morning as we start a new week. We start a new week, but Spurs are still Spursy. Nothing has changed. Ange still has plan A and plan A only. We're going to be talking about what Manchester City might be doing in January and also who Liverpool might be losing in January should Real Madrid get their wish. We've also got some Arsenal news as well and other Premier League news. Also, we're going to go through the weekend's results and have a little bit of a laugh at some of them, that's for sure. But first of all, we need you to do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, they're 2 free buttons and they mean so much. I'm really pushing this at the moment because our next target is so close. The big 3-0. We've hit 25k. Big up to every single one of you. We now need to go and get to the big 3-0, people. And the 12th man community continues to grow. So make sure you are a part of it. All you've got to do is click like and subscribe on this video. It is absolutely free and it takes 2 seconds. So please do that because it does mean a lot for the channel. Check out Manscaped, our sponsors. Make sure you are in it for the 20% off code. If you click the link in the description or in the pinned comment, should I say, it will take you straight through to manscaped.com and you can select the Beard Hedger, which will get 20% off of. So please make sure that you are in it to win it. Okay, let's talk, shall we? Because my goodness, there was absolute drama this weekend. If you have not done so already, go and check out one of the most heated streams we've had so far on 12th Man last night. This is London. My goodness. It's the video before this with Big Ange on the front. Just click on that and just sit back with some popcorn and enjoy. My goodness. Deji in the mud. D haven't won with Palace in the mud. Don drawing to 10 men Forest in the mud. Only myself and Lawless can sit there with our heads held high saying that we've actually got 3 points. 3-point collectors for Arsenal and West Ham this weekend. But the other London clubs, no. Unfortunately not. Not on that panel anyway. But big up to everybody on that show, man. One of the best and most popular shows. So please make sure you go and check that one out. We are now on audio. If you do not want to watch all the YouTube adverts, if you just want to sit back, download the stream, listen to it on the tube, then make sure that you go and listen to us on all audio platforms now, whether it's Spotify, Amazon, Apple. We've got it. You name it, we're there. So please make sure that you also support the audio as well. Listen. We've got to talk about the Premier League results so far, and we're going to concentrate on one after it. Let's bring up the weekend's results so we can share what has happened so far. It's been a mad weekend, if I'm honest, like all of them. Every single weekend, it seems at the moment, seems to be an absolute cracker, and this was no different. Aston Villa and Manchester United, however, was a bore fest. I didn't see anything from either side that gave me the confidence that they were taking a massive leap forward. Aston Villa definitely in a better position than Manchester United, but I expected them to win this game. And I also expected them to win it quite comfortably, but their attack was not firing. Manchester United couldn't do anything in the final third. There was one moment or two from Aston Villa where perhaps they could have done better. But I actually thought the player who should have, in my opinion, come off the pitch with his head held high was actually Johnny Evans, who must be in his late 30s now. So when you look at it, it was a poor game. It was a snooze fest. And if I'm honest, I would have much rather have watched Chelsea Forest where there was some drama and some goals. So not the best of weekends for both Villa and Manchester United, but really they'll walk away thinking we didn't lose. Manchester United could actually be happy that they got a point at Villa Park because it's a tough place to go. But Villa will be definitely disappointed they didn't take all 3 at home to a Manchester United side that looks very, very poor at the moment. But Ten Hag remains. I thought it was going to be after Porto Villa, but he's got 2 draws and therefore the show must go on. And I'm pleased about it. Chelsea won, Nottingham Forest won. Does that scoreline make sense? Well, actually, looking back at the game, I think it's actually a fair result. I thought Chelsea could have scored at the end. Forest could have scored at the end. Forest had 10 men, so fair play to them. And do you know what? Hats off to this Nottingham Forest side, by the way, because it's had some tough games already, and it's come away with some fantastic points and sees itself sitting in the top half. I don't see them going down, and I did at the start of the season. I just felt like perhaps there was too much for Forest and it was maybe a season too much. But they've proven that actually, as a front line, they've got some good players. Morgan Gibbs-White, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood and Taiwo Awoniyi are still scoring goals for them. In midfield, they seem to have a little bit of balance now with Elliot Anderson coming in and playing well for them. So I'm a fan, and I want Forest to stay up, man. Forest should be a Premier League side. They're good for the Premier League, man. It's way too long without them. Massive club. Brian Clough, one of the greatest managers ever. And when you've got a history like that, you need to be in the Premier League, man. So, and they've got a great fan base, great stadium. Big up to them, man. Hope it continues for them. And then we come to this game. My goodness gracious me. Brighton beating Spurs by 3-2. And it doesn't tell the whole story, does it, as a scoreline? Tottenham were cruising. In the first half, I even texted the group and said, wow, this Tottenham side actually looked quite good. 5 wins in a row, 2-0 up. Brennan Johnson scoring 6 in 6. I think this could be the starting point for Spurs now. Who's the last team they lost to? Arsenal. Not now. After yesterday, Brighton are now added to that list. How can you be 2-0 down and throw a game away in a matter of 15, 20 minutes of the second half? They were nothing short of shambolic. And I'm not having it anymore that this back five are better than Arsenal's. Vicario's not better than Raya. Porro's not a better defender than Timber or White. Udogie was an absolute disaster. And for me, Van de Ven gets spun very easily. And if he didn't have his pace, we'd be talking about half a player here. Romero, stinky again. What is it with this guy that they have this super obsession with? He's a good defender, not a world-class one. They make out like he is top draw, like he'd get into any team. Trust me, he wouldn't. And if he did, he'd be kicked out. He wouldn't last in Arsenal, City, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. He wouldn't last in those teams. They get rid of him because he isn't good enough. He has a bozo G moment and he has a rash tackle, a sending off, and a mistake in him. So I ain't having it, man. I ain't having it. That's what I will say. Look, Ange Postecoglou. For me, the audio of interview said it all. I will play expansive football. I will be an entertaining football club. That's great, bro. That's great, Ange. Sometimes you need a plan B, though. Otherwise, you're going to get battered. Because Spurs are being found out. Spurs have been massively found out. And it's actually one of the easiest teams to play against now. If you nullify their attack, they won't score. Solanke, who I think is a very good player, Brennan Johnson, who I think has got a hell of a lot of abuse for a kid that actually was nowhere near as bad as they were making out. They're making out like this kid is an absolute scrub. It's not the case. He's always been a Premier League footballer. Whether he's good enough for a top 4 Premier League club may be a good question and a good debate. But he can score goals. He did it at Forest. He's now doing it at Tottenham. Kulusevski. They're all good individual players, but I can't see anything happening in cohesion together. And my God, Timo Werner. Is that guy a footballer? Because all he can do is run. He should have just been on the athletics pitch. Because if you're on the athletics track, you're doing well if you're Timo Werner, because he can run. But my goodness, he can't do anything else with a football. He looks absolutely woeful. So I'm here for it. Tottenham getting battered is always fun. Tottenham getting beat after being 2-0 up just shows how much of a bottle job they really are. And people call Arsenal bottle jobs. We're the bottlers, are we? Wow. Tottenham fans calling Arsenal bottle jobs, saying we bottled it. It really is quite ironic. So that was Sunday. Tottenham. Wow, what is happening with Ange? Poor old Ange. They want him out. They've had enough of him. They're deciding what to do with him. The fan base are all kind of hurt by it. But Ange, he's under pressure. Massively. And yes, it was 5 wins in a row. But let's be real. If it wasn't for a few seconds away from Coventry, he probably would have been sacked. He went 1-0 down against Brentford. Ended up coming back into that. They haven't been playing well enough. There's not enough on the pitch I see from Ange that I think, wow, do you know what? I don't care that he's only got a plan A because plan A is going to win me the league. No. I don't care that we haven't got a plan B because plan A is going to win me a trophy. Not in my opinion. I don't think they'll beat Man City in the Carabao Cup if Pep takes it seriously. I don't think they'll win the Europa League and I don't think they'll win the FA Cup or the Premier League. So I think it's another trophyless season for Tottenham. Ange wants a trophy, apparently. Let's see how seriously he takes it, man. So that's Spurs. Spursy as ever. Crystal Palace drawing. Drawing, I would have thought the way that some people were talking about. When I saw the highlights, I think Liverpool deserved the win. If I'm honest, I think they had enough chances to win the game. Yeah, Palace could have equalised, but to be fair, Liverpool should have been more than one up anyway. Palace are going through a bit of a tough time at the moment. If I'm honest, I think that Glasner will get it right. I believe he's a good manager. I believe he's got the mentality to get them over the line, to get them out of where they are and up towards the top half of the table. It's only going to take a couple of wins, but at the moment, they're just looking poor. They're not looking good enough. I think Eze's gone off the boil a little bit. Mark Guehi, does he want to be there? Eddie Nketiah, is he good enough? Because he ain't scored anytime soon. So where are we at with Palace? Like Adam Wharton is gone off the boil a bit as well. Yeah, I'm not hearing many good things from Palace at the moment. But Liverpool, it's 1-0. Again, don't think they've been massively tested yet. That's been one of their most tougher games. But Liverpool have got an unbelievable amount of fixtures coming up. They really have. So I expect to see Liverpool struggling in the coming weeks. And it's going to be interesting to see how they get through this huge period of time, because it is going to be difficult. Arsenal winning 3-1 against Southampton. We all know about what happened there. That was squeaky bum time. In the first half, I still feel Arteta went and rotated the squad and disrespected what was a Southampton team that actually could give us a game on their day, and tried to. Look, we dominated the football. Second half, he panics and brought all the other players on, and we went and won the game comfortably. We are clearly better than Southampton, and it showed on the day. As for Brentford Wolves, that was the game of the weekend for me. I mean, 8 goals, absolutely phenomenal. 6 of them coming at first half. It was a superb game. Wolves, unfortunately, are all over the place at the moment. If you're conceding 5, and you're conceding 6, and you're conceding 4s already this season, that does not look a good sign. Gary O'Neill, they are giving him backing. They are saying it's not his fault. We're going to give him time. And I think he's going to get at least till Christmas, January time to turn this around. Now, Wolves at the moment are looking like they're floating with a relegation battle. I never had them in a relegation battle. I actually had Wolves around 15th, 16th this season, which I know people will say is a relegation battle. But if I'm honest, I thought they'd be comfortably there. I didn't think they'd be floating around there. But losing Pedro Neto, losing 2 or 3 of their best players, Kilman, etc., that has definitely affected them, in my opinion. And they're just missing that killer instinct at the moment. So can Wolves turn it around? I think they could be in trouble. But Brentford actually underappreciated how good they're going to be this season without Ivan Toney. They are looking very good. Leicester beating Bournemouth 1-0. Bit of a shock. I didn't expect that. I thought Bournemouth would have gone there and actually given them a right game. It looks as if they did, but Leicester got the 3 points. Massive 3 points as well for Leicester, for Shaw and for Steve Cooper. Manchester City beating Fulham 3-2. But I will tell you this. If they had a centre forward that could strike, they would no way have won that game. Adama Traore could have had a hat-trick. He missed all 3, and they were pretty much sitters. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Unfortunately, Fulham couldn't quite do the job. But you know what? Big up to them, because they've actually gone there and given them a right game. And I think fair play, because, they're a tough side. We know they're a tough outfit. We know what they're about. Look, without Rodri and KDB, they get another 3 points. That's how good Manchester City are, and that is why they are still favourites to win the title, in my opinion. West Ham United, they had a little bit of a scare when it went to 1-1, but to be fair, the quality's shown through, and Lopetegui deserves credit because he finally got them winning, and the winning convincingly 4-1. Antonio, Bowen, Paqueta, all on the score sheet. Kudus as well. Their front 4, if they can remain doing that, they'll be more than happy. Ipswich, if I'm honest, they're a little bit inconsistent at the moment. They go and put on an absolute blinder against Villa and then get spanked against West Ham. I will say this, however, I think their home form is going to be key. They've got a couple of really big games coming up against Leicester and Everton at Portman Road, which they just must win if they want to stay in the Premier League, even at this early stage. And then the most boring game of the weekend alongside Villa and Man United was probably Everton and Newcastle, other than there was a goal ruled off for offside and Gordon missed a penalty against his old club. That was literally all that happened. Newcastle, I hold my hands up. I thought they were getting Champions League, or at least fighting for top 4. And already I've quite quickly changed my mind 7 games in that's just not going to be the case. And I don't know where Newcastle will go from here. If they don't get European football, they'll lose Isak and Bruno Guimaraes and maybe even more players like Anthony Gordon. What is the long-term solution at Newcastle? Is it to beat Man City and Arsenal and Liverpool, or is it to just try and get into the top 6 or top 4? I personally believe the ownership want them to be the most successful club in the coming 2 decades. But the way things are going, it might take a bit longer than they all hoped. I think a lot of people said, hello, Newcastle, 3-4 years, they'll be up there competing. Well, it's been 3 years, and I don't think they've done much, if I'm honest with you. This is their third season now, right? Or is it it's their third season. They got the first with Champions League. The second, they were in the Champions League and struggled with injuries. And this third one, they've got to get back in the top 4, in my opinion, if they want to go to that next level. But I just don't think Newcastle are going to do that. I don't see Newcastle better than Chelsea or Villa. They're certainly not better than Liverpool, Arsenal, or Manchester City. So Newcastle are going to try and hope and pray that they can fight in and around that 6th, 7th to try and pick up top 6 or Europa Conference League, because I don't think it's looking good for them, I must say. Need Isak back, need Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno to fire in that midfield, and they need Barnes and Gordon to start firing, because unfortunately for them, it ain't looking good, man. It ain't looking good. Let's see. Look, we may as well start with some of the injury news, some of the transfer news, and some of the Premier League news. And of course, people are talking about missing this guy. Now, Manchester City have not actually missed him so far this season, and I'll tell you why. They actually started the first 5 games without Rodri, and they were winning them. Now, without them, they're still winning games. It's KDB that they are lacking. If KDB was against Arsenal, it would have been very, very difficult for us to break Manchester City down as well as we did. I also think that although they'll miss Rodri, I do think now that they will replace him in January. And there's a couple of names that are banding around that Manchester City are going all out for. They've set aside 80 to 100 million euros to replace Rodri this January, not this summer. Who are the names on the list? Well, the first one is an absolute baller, and I pray with all my might that nothing happens here, because this is an elite baller. Barella from Inter Milan is probably the best in the world as his position, in my opinion. Obviously, Rodri is more of a 6. Barella can play in more of a box-to-box, more of an 8. I think Barella is a superb player, and I think he can play there. If they were to get him, it would be phenomenal. But are Inter Milan really going to let one of their best players go in January? I can't see that happening. Money does talk. Maybe 80 to 100 million will twist their arm, but I cannot see that one happening. The other one, of course, is Martin Zubimendi, who people are saying wants to stay in Spain. Rubbish the regrets of moving to Liverpool, staying in Real Sociedad. A dream move to Real Madrid is apparently what is on the cards for him. Let's see if Manchester City move for Zubimendi. And of course, the other guy is someone we played only the other week, is of course Ederson at L'Atalanta, the holding midfielder that Liverpool were looking at, that now Manchester City are also looking at as well. So let's see who replaces Rodri, if anyone at all. Is there anyone coming through the academy? I know Adam Wharton is mentioned as someone that they're looking at from Palace as well, but he's not started the season great. Let's see who comes in at Manchester City. I think one thing's for sure. Someone's replacing Rodri. Someone's coming in. And I don't mean to replace Rodri when Rodri's fit, because obviously he plays, but someone's coming in my opinion, whether it's January or the summer. And I think Manchester City have actually not missed Rodri as much as perhaps people might like to think. And I'm not sure they will miss Rodri as much as you think they might. Last season they did. They got 1 in 6 without him. This season, it's not looking the case. And I also believe it's because Kovacic and Gundogan are now in this squad. And for me, I think they can actually form a good double pivot and actually be quite dangerous. So Manchester City have still got quality. That's for sure. Let's talk about Trent, because a lot of people are suggesting that Trent Alexander-Arnold will go to Real Madrid. They cannot see him staying at Liverpool because he's got 1 year left. This is the last season. He's going to see what Arne Slot wins, and then Real Madrid come knocking, and it's a different knock. Look, there's a really tricky situation for Trent Alexander-Arnold. He is a proper Liverpool lad. He loves the club, loves the city, wants to be known as a legend there, will be a legend if he stays, is given the captain's armband. And that, for me, is how you tempt him to stay at Liverpool. Big contract, new armband, new contract, staying at Liverpool as the captain. Let's see. But a lot of people are saying he wants to go and join his best mate, Jude Bellingham, over at Real Madrid. It's absolutely ludicrous that the board are allowing Trent Alexander-Arnold to run his contract down. On top of that, the other 2 players are Salah and Van Dijk. They're 3 best players alongside Alisson, who at the moment looks like he's injured, but his future is up for grabs because Mamardashvili is coming in. What is going on at Liverpool? Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving was be absolutely nothing short of a disaster. Imagine those players leaving on a free. Salah goes to Saudi on a free. Van Dijk decides to go and play the last couple of years somewhere as a free transfer. And Trent on a free. Can you imagine? And Alisson is the one they sell because obviously he's not going to stay if Mamardashvili's coming in as the new number 1. Liverpool, this could be the end of an era. Now, look, it might not be. You might get to a stage where actually you look and go, right, Salah, we want you to stay for another season. Trent, we want you to sign another 4-year deal. And Van Dijk, we want you for another year as well. And things could be rosy. Alisson could be number one. Marvin could come in as number two. That could realistically still happen at Liverpool. It just does not look great at the moment. And I look at it and I think, wow, how is it that the board have allowed this to happen? This is really, really poor from them. So interesting. Two players that look to be staying at Liverpool long term, however, is the partnership of Konaté and Quansah. Now, is this a good enough partnership for the Premier League? I'm not so sure that I've seen enough from either of them together to know that that's the case, but I will say that both of them are definitely good enough to be squad players for Liverpool, and Konaté is a first teamer. I think Liverpool need another centre-back alongside Konaté when Van Dijk goes, whether that's Mark Guehi, whether that's Diamande from Sporting Lisbon, whether it's someone else that we've not spoken of yet. They definitely need somebody. And I'm a huge fan of what I've seen of both of these kids. I think Quansah deserved his England call-up when he has got them. I think Konaté is one of the best in the league when on form. And I think alongside Saliba will form an unbelievable partnership for France moving forward. So that one's going to be very interesting. Are they both going to stay? Well, it looks as if they're going to now. Sticking with Liverpool, though, they're looking at Eze. And it's not only Liverpool that are looking at Eze. There's a few clubs that are looking at Eze. And I honestly believe he is going to be a baller. However, he hasn't started too well. It's not just Liverpool. Newcastle and Tottenham are in the race to sign him. He's 26 years old. And Eze at Crystal Palace right now does not look like the Eze that's kind of finished the season last season. Something quite wrong with him. Not sure what. Arsenal were interested. I know that. He's a big Arsenal lover as well, from what I hear. I think he could still come in and do an unbelievable job. I'd much rather have Eze than Sterling. I think he'd be a phenomenal choice for left 8, attacking 10 and on the wing. But it looks as if Newcastle, Spurs and Liverpool are interested. And I think it would be a good signing for all three of them, if I'm honest with you. Look, he's a baller. He's a great player. He's done really well when he's come into the England setup. I think he's been phenomenal for Crystal Palace. 26 years old. I think if he's going to be getting a move, it's going to be soon. It'll be this summer. I don't think it'll be January. So we'll have to see what happens with Eze. It will be very interesting. I always call him Eze, but apparently it's Eze. But look, we call him what everybody wants to, right? Let's talk about this guy. We're moving to Manchester United. They want Xavi. Ten Hag is looking to be replaced. But how many managers have I been linking Manchester United with in the last few days? Southgate, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Tuchel, Allegri, Simone Inzaghi, Xavi, Graham Potter, Eddie Howe, Unai Emery mentioned. That's 9 managers. Look, Xavi's available. At the moment, it's looking as if Manchester United are genuinely interested in contacting Xavi. He's seen as the ideal choice to lead a reconstruction project at Old Trafford should Ten Hag leave Manchester United. That's from El Nacional over in Spain. He is available. Now, look, he has got an unbelievable football brain, one of the most underrated, in my opinion, players that isn't spoken about and put in the same category as some of the players that he should be. For me, Xavi is in the category of the best. I think he was absolutely phenomenal. I don't put him in the bracket of a Zidane, but I think Iniesta was better than him. But if you look at his style of play, there weren't many better than him. He could dictate a game. Incredible. Absolutely phenomenal footballer. So he's got a footballing brain. He would have understood the Pep model from Barcelona days, and he would have been in that bracket. Wasn't able to deliver with Barcelona, but I think would be able to do a good job elsewhere. Maybe Spurs, United, or other clubs that might be interested in Europe will be looking at Xavi, but he is definitely available. So will he go? Possibly. Manchester United? I don't know. Who the hell would want that job? Let's be real. Absolutely shocking. Barcelona, though, have dealt a blow to Newcastle because they are looking at Jonathan David. Now, Newcastle are apparently interested in the 24-year-old, but it's been dealt a blow after Barcelona have entered the bidding war. Now, I think it's very difficult when people say enter the bidding war. There's nothing to bid at the moment. The window is shut. But Jonathan David at 24 is actually a younger player than I imagined, and he has scored some goals for Lille. Now, Newcastle interested. Arsenal was sniffing around him. Barcelona now the favourites to be looking at Jonathan David. But they're not only looking at Jonathan David, they're looking at player who is out of contract from Bayern Munich, Leroy Sané. Now, Leroy Sané is 29 years old. He is a player that they are monitoring. Sports reports are suggesting in Spain that the 29-year-old Leroy Sané is out of contract at the end of the season and could be signed by Barcelona, who are monitoring him. Now, Bayern Munich are actually losing a few players in the summer, I think, out of contract. I don't think he's the only one. So could be an interesting move, that one, if he was to leave, of course, and go to Barcelona. But let's take a look at somebody that Arsenal have been linked with very heavily over the coming 12 to 18 months, maybe even longer than that now. The Juventus sporting director has hinted that the club are in talks with Dusan Vlahovic about extending his deal with the club. Now, the 24-year-old Serbian has been linked with Arsenal for many, many seasons now, and he's a player that I've always appreciated and liked. Whether he's my number one target is a completely different debate, but he is definitely a player that would interest a lot of clubs. When he was at Fiorentina, I loved him. He was banging in goals left, right, and centre. Superb finish with his left foot. Basically looked like Olivier Giroud that could finish and all sorts of goals. Look, I'm a fan of him. Will he come to Arsenal? I don't know. Will he stay at Juventus? I think it's looking more likely. Thiago Motta has come in there, and I think he's been a fan. He's been scoring goals. He's been looking good. So for me, I think Dusan Vlahovic is definitely a player that they will want to keep. And it looks that he may be extending his contract now. So links to Arsenal are probably now going out of the window. Talking of Arsenal and moving to Arsenal, we are linked with a couple of Brazilian wonder kids that are only 18 years old. Now, I've mentioned this player before, Vitor Reis over at Palmeiras. He is a centre-half that they are looking at as an 18-year-old. Now, whether that means we sign him and loan him back out to Brazil or keep him elsewhere like we did with Saliba, maybe. But he isn't the only centre-half that we are linked with. We are also linked with João Pedro Sherman. Now, this is a Brazilian wonder kid also, a player who, let's be real, I know absolutely nothing about. When they said João Pedro, I thought, oh yeah, the Brighton guy, right? I honestly believe that's who it was. I do not know enough about this guy. I know that he is someone that Arsenal and Chelsea are being linked with, but I don't know enough about him to know whether he'd be a good signing or not. I think that he is, as a young wonder kid at Santos, it's looking as though we're interested in him. Arsenal and Chelsea both monitoring the player. Now, look, if we could get two centre-halves in that young, I don't actually mind it. If they're going to be two that Edu has scouted over at Brazil as being the next Saliba and Gabriel, let's bring them in. Let's get them working underneath them. Let's get them learning, and let's get them as the next centre-half pairing in the next 5 years, 6 years, when Gabriel and Saliba are even no longer playing for Arsenal or getting towards their late 20s to 30s. That would be fine. But I don't see us signing both of these. I think they're just two players that we're potentially looking at. So let's not get too excited. We could get them. We don't know. I have no idea, if I'm honest with you, how true that one is. So let's stick with it and see who we believe we may get. And that's going to, be summer or January, by the way. Sorry, summer, not January. So I don't expect to see those two names in Arsenal this season, that's for sure. Let's talk about King Kai, shall we? For two reasons. One, he's pulled out with Germany. He apparently has a knee injury. Now, I don't believe it. I think it is dark arts. I think they're keeping him because they know how important he is right now. Arsenal at the moment don't look like scoring goals unless Kai Havertz is in the number 9. And that's a worry for Mikel Arteta because Jesus is there. Trossard can play there. But at the moment, Trossard's needed at the number 10. Havertz is needed in the 9. And I think we need to play a little bit more dark arts after the Martin Odegaard injury. I think we need to be pulling players out. Timber hasn't travelled. Ben White won't travel. Saka and Rice will probably play again. Arteta needs to have a word with Lee Carsley and say, look, they're going to get injured if you keep playing them like you are. And if he continues to play them, we just keep them. We need to be really ruthless now because this is a Premier League title and a Champions League we're going for. I don't care about no Nations League. I want Saka and Rice playing in that, if I'm honest with you. I'm more than happy to keep someone else a chance. Yeah, give that Angel Gomez a chance instead of Declan Rice. Kobe Minu can play. Make sure Palmer plays because apparently he's better than Saka anyway. So throw him in. Saka clearly won't get in. Rest him. That's where I'm at. I think Kai Havertz is fine. I think there'll be a couple of games where potentially he might need a rest. But I think Kai Havertz is definitely the starter at Arsenal now. And he has to play in the 9. He absolutely has to play in the 9 for me. So an interesting one for sure. I think Kai Havertz is forming a very, 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 very good partnership with a player at Arsenal that I think sometimes gets disrespected, and it's, of course, Bukayo Saka. And I think the link-up play between both of these is being underappreciated. I've been such a fan of what I've seen from both of these guys. And I think when you look at what Havertz has delivered at Arsenal, Saka's been in and around most of that, whether it's delivering crosses, passing, threading through balls, or actually allowing him to get on the end of something. Saka's usually involved, right? And I looked at Saka's goals involvements. This is quite astonishing. We've only played 7 games, by the way. And this is how good Bukayo Saka is looking right now at Arsenal. And I don't think people are talking about it enough. People are mentioning Palmer. They're quick to talk about how great he's been. But let's just take a look at how fantastic this has been for Bukayo Saka. This is only in the Premier League, by the way. He's got more in the Champions League already. Yeah. Against Wolves on the first game at the Emirates, he got a goal and an assist. He got an assist against Villa. In the next game against Brighton, he got an assist. Spurs, he got an assist. Man City, he got an assist. Nothing at Leicester at the Emirates. But against Southampton, he got a goal and 2 assists. So we're talking about Bukayo Saka here playing 7 games of football and getting 9 goals or assists. It's quite phenomenal. If he continues this, he will break a record for himself and maybe even for the Premier League. It is absolutely mad. I think it's 19 assists is the record, right? Or is it 20? It might be 20. It's 19 or 20. It's either De Bruyne or Ozil or someone did it. Might even be Henry, Fabregas. They're all up there, right? But for me, if he can be aiming for over 20 goals and assists, which is what he's aiming for right now, wow. We're talking about him playing 38 games this season, and he's scoring or assisting in every single one of them other than one at the moment out of the first 7. So he's got, 21 games left? Is that 31 games left, sorry. And even if he gets, let's say, half of that, he's basically got the record. So I think he could easily get this assist record this season, Saka. He's definitely going to break his own. Could he get in all competitions 40? Could he? I think he could. I think he could get 40 goals and assists. I really do. I really believe he's that good. It is absolutely incredible. So look, I've got to be real. I don't believe that. Here we go. Henry's 2020 record. Well done. I knew it was something like that. My brain's not working. I thought it was Ozil, but he got 19, didn't he? And Henry with 20. Look, I think Saka could do that. I think Saka could do it. I really do. I think he's that good. And I think he's so disrespected, man. So disrespected. So that's where I'm at. Let's move to this. Where are we? It's coming in a minute. Here we go. This was nice to see. Aaron Ramsdale getting what he deserves from all of the Arsenal players in the tunnel before the game. I don't know how many of you saw this, but he literally got a handshake and a welcome back by every single one of the players. Declan Rice there. We've got obviously Saliba and Gabriel coming up to him. Thomas Partey also. It's great to see. I'm a big fan of what I've seen here because Aaron Ramsdale deserved a good welcome back, a good reception, and he got that. He got it. So, look, that's all we care about. Aaron Ramsdale, I hope he has a good career. I hope that somehow Southampton can stay up and he's a part of that. But look, I'll always have a good feel for Aaron Ramsdale. He did nothing wrong, in my opinion, for Arsenal. He gave his absolute all. And I just believe that it got to a stage where there was a preference. Will Arteta do that with other players? Kenny Ken believes so. Kenny Ken believes Ben White's the next one. It will be Timber. He believes Calafiori will eventually take over from Gabriel. He believes Martinelli will be replaced and there will be a left winger coming in. So what do we think? Is there going to be an opportunity for Mikel Arteta to be ruthless with others? I think he will be. I just don't know who the players are going to be. At the moment, I'm looking forward to seeing this Arsenal team when all of its 11 is fit. Raya looks phenomenal in goal. Gabriel and Saliba, superb partnership. At Emirates, yeah, we need to sort things out defensively. But you know what? We still look good. Timber, Calafiori, Ben White, really, really excited. Tomiyasu now back. In midfield, Partey and Jorginho are there, but I think we'll see Rice in the 6 with Mourinho now in the 8. And then obviously up top, if you've got Mourinho 8, in the 10, Trossard at the moment, Wanyeri's still there, Erdegaard when he's fit. And then, of course, across the front, 3. I've got to say, like, at the moment, it's got to be Saka, Martinelli and Havertz. Jesus and Sterling are the only 2. I think it's the only area of the team at the moment that we're a little bit light. I've said this. I felt like the 10 was potentially a little bit short because of Vieira and Smith Rowe going. But if Trossard and Nwaneri can prove that they're the Vieira and Smith Rowe replacements, then it's just that striker for me, because Havertz, yes, he's the best, but for me, nah. Jesus and Sterling, they've got to do a hell of a lot more. I'm giving them till Christmas, and then I'm going to look at it and go into January and say, go and get Gyökeres, go and get whoever you think you need to up top, because we need a striker. So let's see what happens. Jesus, somebody asked me in the chat, not sure he's good enough, if I'm honest with you, anymore. He's just not looking it. He doesn't look quite on the ball. I'm going to give him till Christmas, and Sterling likewise. But those two at the moment are the two that are disappointing me. And I'll be more than happy to bring Nwaneri on the wing instead of Sterling. And if I'm honest with you, I'd rather play Trossard up front than Jesus. So that's where I'm at. If people can change my mind and tell me that, no, Dan, we've got to give him more time, trust me, it'll be fine, fair play. But for me, at the moment, I want to see more from Jesus and Sterling. Hopefully we can do. International break now. We've got content, don't worry. But trust me, there's potentially a lot of games coming up with rotation needed. And the rotation we did at the weekend didn't look very healthy. We didn't quite look the same team. So what do? I think we go into every game strong, and then we take off our 5 best players. That's what I think we do. Mikel Arteta, I think, will actually not do that. Now, I think he might do it in a couple. Shakhtar Donetsk might do that. Liverpool, he'll definitely do that. For me, against Preston, I think you'll see a similar side that played against Bolton. I expect Raya to play in goal because Neto's cup tied. I don't expect to see Jack Porter. I think the back lines against Preston will probably be similar to Kivior coming in, Tomiyasu coming in, Ben White probably playing. In midfield, it will be Jorginho and Partey. I expect to see Marino maybe. Across the front three, I expect to see Sterling and Jesus. Probably going to see Nwaneri in there too. So that's the sort of side that I expect to see against Preston. I'm honest with you, I expect to beat Preston with that side. We should be, right? So let's see how far we go in that one. Want to go deep in that competition. I want to go deep in the FA Cup. I want to get to the latter stages of the Champions League. And I want to be pushing Manchester City all the way in this Premier League title. And I've got to say at the moment, Liverpool as well, because they're ahead of us, right? So let's respect it and let's be real about where we're at here. Listen, people, we're going to break there. We're going to stop there. Do me a favor. There's 300 of you in here, but unfortunately, the likes do not suggest that we have that many in here. We do not have enough likes, people. We only have 81. Hit the like button and hit subscribe. It's 2 free buttons. It really does mean so much to the channel. So please, if you've liked this video, please show your appreciation by just hitting the like button and the subscribe button. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't tell you. Honestly, I'm not one of those guys who has to get the most views, subs, and likes in YouTube. That ain't me, right? So if you enjoy what I do, please hit the like and subscribe, because it will prove to me that these shows are worthwhile. If you can also do me a favor and jump over to Lee Judges TV at 12:30. It is going to be a lit panel. You do not want to miss that. Go and subscribe over to Lee Judges TV. Hit the notification bell so you know when we're on, because me and Lee have got a lot of stuff going on over there. And at 12:30 today, we've got a great show with a great panel. Tonight, I'll be back at 8 p.m. for Race for Europe with all the boys. We're going to be talking about Villa and Man United, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and of course, Chelsea. And Deji is back from Tottenham. Wow, it is going to be lit. We've got another couple of super chats before we close. And of course, they've come from one of my favorites, Suj. Absolute legend, man. Hit the like and subscribe, community. It's the road to 50K. Wow, you're too kind, Suj. Let's try and get to 30 first. And then, of course, we can call for 40s and 50s once we hit that. But let's get to 30, one step at a time, my bro. Big up to you. It says, another left field take. I'd look at Neymar. Not sure if he's happy at Saudi. If we can get a good deal on his wages, ready for my hate. That's not going to happen, my bro. I think Mikel Arteta would want anything other than that. I do believe there's personally a potential of a left winger coming in or a winger coming in, but I think it's going to be Nico Williams that they want. The other player that I think it could be, if it's not going to be him, is Eze. But I don't believe that we're going to be going for Neymar. But listen, I love your take. I love your opinions, and big up to you. Make sure you are doing me a favor, hitting the like, hitting the subscribe, hitting the notification bell, and of course, clicking on the pinned comments now to get your beard hedger. The beard hedger at Manscaped is 20% off using that code. Make sure you go through that link. If you do get any problems, it's FTM20. Superb. I'll see you at lunchtime over on Lee Judges TV and back here again at 8 p.m. tonight. Take care, people. We're out.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.